Detective John Hartley, a veteran of the local police force, known for his meticulous approach to complex cases, sat at his desk on a quiet Tuesday morning, sifting through a stack of reports. His attention was suddenly captured by a new file, marked Urgent. It detailed the mysterious disappearance of a young girl, Emily, last seen near the town's most enigmatic and unsettling landmark, the abandoned hospital at the edge of town. The hospital, once a bustling center of care, had been left to decay for decades, its history fading into obscurity. Hartley's eyes narrowed as he read through the witness statements. Emily, described as a vivacious and fearless teenager, had expressed an unusual fascination with the hospital. Her friends, through hushed tones and anxious glances, recounted how Emily was drawn to the allure of the unknown, often speaking of her desire to uncover the secrets hidden within the hospital's dilapidated walls. This wasn't just a case of a missing girl. It was a journey into the heart of the town's darkest mystery. As the detective prepared to leave for the hospital, he pondered over the numerous urban legends that surrounded the place. Tales of unexplained occurrences, of eerie sounds echoing through its abandoned halls, and of the hospital's grim past had become a staple of local folklore. Despite the community's apprehensive attitude towards the hospital, Hartley felt a growing sense of determination. This building, a sprawling edifice of forgotten stories and untold secrets, was about to become the center of his investigation. Arriving at the scene, Hartley was greeted by the imposing sight of the old hospital. Its once pristine walls were now cloaked in ivy, windows shattered, giving it appearance. The grand entrance, now just a gaping maw, seemed to beckon him into its depths. He took a deep breath, feeling the weight of responsibility on his shoulders, not just to solve the case, but to bring closure to a community haunted by the unknown. With each step towards the building, Hartley braced himself, knowing that within these walls lay the answers to Emily's disappearance, and perhaps even more than what he was seeking. As Detective Hartley stepped through the threshold of the abandoned hospital, he was immediately struck by the stark contrast between the building's former glory and its current state of desolation. The once sterile and bustling hallways were now coated in layers of dust and debris. His footsteps echoed in the empty corridors, a stark reminder of the solitude that enveloped the place. Despite its dilapidated condition, the hospital still held an air of dignity, as if clinging to its purpose of healing and care. Navigating through the maze-like structure, Hartley meticulously examined each room. He was searching for any clue that could shed light on Emily's whereabouts. Amidst the scattered remnants of medical equipment and faded wall paintings, he found something peculiar, an old, tattered journal lying beneath the collapsed shelf in what appeared to be a former patient's room. Flipping through its pages, he discovered entries that spoke of the hospital's history, its staff, and patients. However, it was the last few entries, scribbled in a hurried hand, that caught his attention. They hinted at a secret section of the hospital, long forgotten and hidden from public knowledge. Intrigued, Hartley continued his exploration, each step taking him deeper into the heart of the hospital. He passed through abandoned operating theaters, empty wards, and silent offices, each telling a silent story of a time long gone. His search led him to a secluded wing of the hospital, hidden behind a series of locked doors and collapsed hallways. It was clear that this part of the hospital had been intentionally concealed, its existence known only to a few. The detective's discovery of this hidden wing brought with it a sense of unease. This was no ordinary section of the hospital. It was clear that whatever transpired here was meant to stay hidden. The rooms were smaller, the air felt heavier, and the silence more profound. It was here, in the depths of this forgotten wing, that Hartley hoped to find the key to unraveling the mystery of Emily's disappearance. Upon entering the concealed wing, Detective Hartley was confronted with a chilling scene. On the wall, in what appeared to be dried blood, the words "Leave now" were scrolled in a frantic, uneven script. The sight momentarily halted him, but his resolve pushed him forward. As he moved deeper into the wing, he came across a series of large glass chambers shaped like tubes. These chambers, unlike anything typically found in a hospital, hinted at experiments far beyond conventional medical practices, possibly even human experimentation. The air in this part of the hospital was thick with an ominous tension. Hartley carefully examined the chambers, noting their intricate designs and the remnants of equipment that suggested advanced and possibly unethical research. It was a disturbing revelation that the hospital, a place meant for healing, might have harbored such dark secrets. As he continued his investigation, the silence of the abandoned hospital was suddenly broken. Faint at first, Hartley began to hear sounds that seemed out of place, a series of soft footsteps echoing in the distance, followed by what sounded like scratches against the old walls. The detective paused, listening intently. The noises grew steadily louder, more pronounced. Then a distant scream pierced the air, startling Hartley. It was a sound filled with anguish and despair, reverberating through the hollow corridors. The intensity of these auditory phenomena was disconcerting. Hartley, with years of experience in handling disturbing cases, tried to maintain his composure. He reminded himself that these sounds could be the result of the building settling, or perhaps animals that had made the hospital their home. Yet, the rational explanations seemed insufficient in the face of such eerie occurrences. Determined to find answers, Hartley pressed on. He knew that these unsettling discoveries and unexplained sounds might hold the key to understanding what happened to Emily and possibly uncovering the darker truths that lay hidden within the walls of the abandoned hospital. As Detective Hartley delved deeper into the hidden wing, the atmosphere grew increasingly oppressive. The dimly lit corridors, illuminated only by his flashlight, revealed more disturbing sights. In one room, he stumbled upon an array of old surgical tools, scattered haphazardly on a rusted table. The instruments bore ominous stains, suggesting their use in procedures that were far from ordinary. The walls were lined with faded photographs depicting figures in lab coats, their faces obscured and expressions unreadable. It was as though each turn in the hospital unearthed a layer of horror that was meticulously concealed. Hartley's heart raced as he encountered what appeared to be a research lab, its shelves lined with vials of unknown substances and papers strewn about in chaos. Among the clutter, he found a series of journals, their pages filled with frantic notes and diagrams. The writings spoke of experiments and trials, but the details were cryptic, the purpose of the research shrouded in ambiguity. It was clear that whatever occurred here was driven by a quest that transcended ethical boundaries. The detective's exploration was suddenly interrupted by a startling discovery. In the center of the lab stood a large, blood-stained table, its surface marred with deep cuts and indentations. Above it hung an array of surgical lights, their once bright gleam reduced to a faint, eerie glow. The scene painted a picture of desperation and despair, a snapshot of a moment frozen in time. Hartley's senses were on high alert as he processed the ghastly scene before him. The lingering scent of antiseptic, mixed with something metallic, hung heavily in the air. He felt a growing sense of dread, realizing that this forgotten wing of the hospital held secrets more sinister than he had anticipated. The detective couldn't shake the feeling that he was not alone, that the echoes of the past were somehow merging with the present. As he prepared to leave the lab, Hartley heard a sound that made him freeze in his tracks. A soft, muffled cry emanated from a nearby room. It was faint but unmistakable. With a surge of adrenaline, he moved towards the source, knowing that each step brought him closer to uncovering the truth behind Emily's disappearance and the dark heart of the hospital's hidden wing. Detective Hartley, following the source of the muffled screams, arrived at the operation room where he discovered Emily. She was strapped to an old operation table, her eyes wide with terror. As he stepped into the room, Emily's screams intensified. "Go away. Don't come," she yelled frantically. But Hartley, driven by his duty to protect and save, ignored her warnings and moved forward. As he did, the door behind him slammed shut with a resounding thud and locked automatically, trapping them inside. The detective quickly approached Emily, attempting to calm her while he worked to unfasten the restraints. Suddenly, a series of heavy, thudding footsteps echoed from the corridor outside. The sounds grew louder, closer. Hartley's pulse quickened as he realized they were not alone. He glanced up just in time to see a horrifying figure appear in the doorway. It was a grotesque, deformed creature, seemingly a product of the unholy experiments conducted in this sinister place. The creature, towering and misshapen, let out a guttural roar and began to violently throw the room's contents. Beds, chairs, and medical equipment were hurled through the air as it advanced towards them. Hartley shielded Emily, trying to find a way to escape. They darted around the room, narrowly avoiding the flying debris and the creature's wrathful advances. In the midst of the chaos, Hartley noticed something peculiar about the creature. From its chest area, something seemed to protrude, an anomaly that appeared to be its weak point. Without hesitation, he drew his pistol. Emily's eyes widened in shock and fear as Hartley took aim. With steady hands, he fired 3 shots, 2 aimed at the creature's chest and 1 at its head. The shots echoed through the room. The creature staggered back, a guttural cry escaping its lips. It collapsed to the ground, motionless. Hartley, his heart still racing, quickly returned his focus to Emily. He finally released her from the restraints, helping her off the table. With the immediate threat neutralized, Hartley had to act quickly. He searched the creature's body for any key or device that could unlock the door. Fortunately, amidst the pockets of the creature's tattered clothing, he found a swipe card. Rushing to the door, he swiped the card, and with a click, the door unlocked. Hartley and Emily hurriedly exited the operation room, their footsteps echoing through the now silent corridors. The horror of what they had encountered weighed heavily on them, but the detective's primary concern was getting Emily to safety and out of the nightmarish confines of the abandoned hospital. With Emily now safe from the immediate danger, Detective Hartley guided her through the labyrinthine hallways of the abandoned hospital. The echo of their footsteps mingled with the heavy silence that now enveloped the place. Emily, still in shock from the harrowing experience, clung to Hartley, her eyes reflecting a mix of fear and relief. As they made their way toward the exit, the detective kept a vigilant eye on their surroundings. The encounter with the grotesque creature had heightened his awareness of the potential dangers lurking within the decaying walls. He knew they were not entirely safe until they stepped out into the open air. Emerging from the hospital, the cool night breeze felt like a cleansing wave. The oppressive atmosphere of the hospital's interior was now replaced by the tranquil calm of the night. Hartley escorted Emily to his car, gently helping her into the passenger seat. As he started the engine and drove away from the ominous silhouette of the hospital, he felt a profound sense of relief. Emily, now away from the nightmare, began to calm down. Hartley promised her that she would be taken care of and that her family would be waiting for her. He also assured her that the horrors of the hospital would be thoroughly investigated. As they drove, the first light of dawn began to break, casting a new light on the town that had been overshadowed by the dark events of the night. Back at the police station, Hartley reported the incident, ensuring that the hospital would be sealed off and investigated by the appropriate authorities. He stayed with Emily until her family arrived, their tearful reunion a poignant reminder of the emotional weight of the case. In the days that followed, the town buzzed with the news of the abandoned hospitals, hidden horrors, and the brave rescue by Detective Hartley. The hospital, once a place of healing, then of mystery, was now a symbol of averted tragedy. Hartley, hailed as a hero, knew that his work was far from over. The secrets unearthed in the hospital's hidden wing called for a deeper investigation. But for now, he was content knowing that Emily was safe and reunited with her loved ones. The case of the abandoned hospital would remain in the town's history, a chilling reminder of the mysteries that can hide in plain sight. For Detective Hartley, it was another reminder of the resilience of the human spirit and the relentless pursuit of truth, no matter how dark the path may be.